We're going to begin lying down. So if you want to set up now, and we just have a couple of minutes, what I've done is I have simply I've folded 2 blankets. We're going to set the pelvis on this for it to be soft and supportive and just a minimal amount of compression. So you can do 1 blanket folded. I folded this over 4 times. It's maybe 5 inches high, or you could also add a second blanket to have a little bit more height. So we are trying to find that balance between support, awareness, and compression right into the pelvis. And then just simply place your pelvis on this. And again, have something that's relatively soft as well. That's why I'm not using the big bolster. So it really feels like it's cradled in these blankets, not the lower back. If you're feeling it in the lower back, bring your body up, bring the bolstering down so it's right sort of below the pubic bone area, and the pelvis feels, maybe tingly, something's happening there, but also cradled and supported. So you can get set up with that. Oh yeah, so it's time. So just give me a moment to just make our technical adjustments, and then we'll begin. Good. So yeah, just relax as much as you can. Make any adjustments to this soft cradling. As your legs relax out, make sure you're not holding any muscular tension in the thighs, the quadriceps, and let the feet relax outward so the hips can relax. Put your arms in a relaxed place as well. Just feel the breath as just a gentle, wispy flow in and out of the body. And I just wanted to share a question that someone posed to me the other day. And certainly I do continue to appreciate your feedback and your questions and your comments. It really helps me to sort of navigate that this is still something that's viable after all this time. So thank you for the inquiries. But someone asked me if how long I had been doing the yoga, and do I ever get bored with the same practice, and specifically the yin yoga. And it's interesting, I started sort of doing the numbers, and I started my very, very basic practice of yoga when I was 29. And then many years later, in 2003, I discovered my true love, which is yin yoga. So I've been doing yin yoga I'm 65 now, so I was like 47. So for maybe I won't do the math, but a long time, the yin yoga. And the question, do I ever get bored with this slow, repetitive practice that doesn't have a lot of glitter to it? Yes. And the answer was simple and direct for me. Absolutely not. Because the time in this body is just so amazing. It's almost like asking, do you get bored being in your body? But every single morning when I wake up, it's like a new blossoming, that it's very, very different every morning, that you can feel something here, something that you felt yesterday is shifted. You're just in this aliveness that is expressing itself through, this physical vehicle, which never gets bored. And so the yin yoga is just a way to explore the texture and the nature of that. And in addition to that, as certainly I do appreciate, maintaining a certain level of flexibility at my age or any age, and to use each posture as a contemplation on the nature of being and the nature of self. So the possibility to, just allow the teachings to really permeate one's being as we move from almost a mesmerized state of being so allured to the external and all the stimulation that comes in the senses and how we make sense of that. But I think one of the primary things that I have appreciated and day by day and moment by moment and class by class I appreciate is just the the way to observe and the way to discern between the experiences that are occurring. And this is the way that the senses mesmerize us and hypnotize us. So these experiences that we get drawn into thinking they have some sort of meaning and reality, and the contemplation of the nature of experiencing itself. This really is the doorway into our freedom, really, our awakening, that is freedom from the constraint of the allure of these experiences that we learn over and over and over again that they are not real, that they are not constant, that they are always changing, and how to live peacefully with a certain groundedness and centering as these experiences come and go, but be able to draw our focus and our attention and our intelligence to the nature and the texture and what experiencing is. So this is, to me, part of the wonder of, and the miracle, the miraculousness of being in this physical body and having this slow contemplative somatic practice, is that we get to make these discernments, these very, very subtle refinements of what's really happening in our overall reality. So no, I do not get bored with it for one moment. And it's lovely to just trust the process of life that guides us, me and all of us, to this hopefully greater peacefulness of the awakening state. So just let's sit with that for just a few moments, and possibly let's begin with that. So allow yourself to certainly connect and acknowledge that you're having certain experiences right now. You're hearing my voice, that's an experience. You're feeling something in your pelvis and maybe sensations other place in your body. You're feeling temperature, the breath moving in and out of the body, maybe sounds in your environment. These are all experiences that are appearing to you, and then they change. Beautiful. Also allow your awareness to then recede from the experiences a bit and see what it is that is experiencing. See if you can start to feel that there's a difference between experiencing and what is being experienced. Now the self-inquiry of yoga. So from this position, let's just stay draped over these blankets and allow your left leg to stay extended, and just draw the right leg up and just place it somewhere either under that right foot, under the left knee, or under the left thigh, and just let the whole right leg relax over to the right. So the weight of that will then pull you into some interesting places in this right hip. So you adjust a little bit, find that place where it feels aligned for you, for your skeleton, and then let the full weight. And if it's too much, if this hurts in a bad way, you certainly put a pillow under that right thigh or under the right knee just to support that weight. So you're really at a safe place so you can investigate and not struggle. And when I suggest from my own personal experience that this body is miraculous, really allow yourself to lean into that. Ask yourself, how much do you really know about this body? And by know, I don't necessarily mean a collection of, anatomical facts, but I mean knowing in an intuitive understanding. And the closer we look, the closer we, allow our awareness to really, open into what this body actually is, it is nothing less than miraculous. And in addition to that, it has a certain perfection to it. This is way beyond the aches and the pains and the symptoms and the things we wish weren't happening. But at its deepest primal functioning, it has a perfection to it. And so we lean into this perfection, we lean into this living miracle that we are, and whatever that evokes, allow it to evoke that. Good. So from here, let's just straighten that right leg out. Yeah. And then we'll have both legs extended out. And I would like to just create a half crescent shape, keeping the height of the bolster under the pelvis. It changes it a bit. It's very nice if you haven't done it this way before. So from here, let's keep the upper body stable for a moment and where it is, and just walk both heels over to the left. So we're still going to work on that left hip and now the left psoas. And then from here, keeping that the left and right leg over to the left, the beginning of the half moon shape, keep the right hip down, don't roll it up, and then just kind of shift the upper body over as well to the left, keeping the right shoulder down. You can then take the right arm, let it drape over the head to continue the shape with the back of the hand on the floor. And then if you would like, you can bring that right ankle over the left ankle, but again, attempting to keep, maybe the right hip will come up a little bit if you do this, but don't let it roll. Don't roll on your left side. We want both buttocks on the floor, both shoulders on the floor, arm comfortably draped over the head. And then wherever you feel this sort of lovely pull on the psoas muscle. Very often when we put the body in these awkward shapes, especially if they're unfamiliar, and the muscles begin to tense and the awkwardness begins to evoke something, we can first feel a shift in the breathing. So whenever the breathing starts to increase a bit and starts to be in the upper part of the chest, this is simply a response to tension, a response to the awkwardness and whatever else you may be feeling that's not completely relaxed. So you want to play with these. It's best really not to try to interfere with that breathing pattern, because it's actually showing you how responsive it is, how it is giving you feedback to your somatic condition. So the recommendation is to let the body continue to relax. Let yourself just sort of sink in beyond the shape, and then notice that the breathing on its own will find its way, will start to weave into that relaxation. So the relaxation is this continual, cycle of relaxing the chatter of the mind and the narrative of the mind, and how that then sort of just naturally morphs into a relaxation of the body. The relaxation of the body just naturally unfolds into the relaxation of the breath. So we're not controlling, we're not trying to make anything happen, but we're allowing ourselves to simply accept, appreciate, and relax when we're uncomfortable, and then see how the aspects of ourselves express themselves. Good. So you can relax that right arm, just put it to your right side. If you do have the ankles crossed, you can uncross the ankles and then walk the heels back and shift the upper body so the spine is straight. And we'll just come back to a straight spine for a moment. Also, this is a good time if you would like to put the feet on the floor and maybe elevate the hips and make any adjustments to what you're feeling in the pelvis here. If you're at a good height, stay at this height. If you want to remove one of your blankets, if you have two, if you want to add something, just make a general adjustment if need be. If you're good, just stay right where you are. And then with the right leg staying extended, we'll bring the left leg up and just place it either under the right knee or under the right thigh, and then let the whole left leg just gently relax to the left. And then find a good place for that. And that's certainly not to say that at times you can consciously move the breath. You can, explore the texture and the rhythm and the patterns of your breathing, just as you're exploring your pelvis and your hip. So it's not something we want to make into a technique. We don't want to make this linear, but we want to be open enough. The yin is the energy of receptivity. So we want to be receptive enough to listen without agenda to what it is we're being drawn to explore. And certainly exploring the breath is very powerful. Exploring the physical sensations, exploring the imagery of the mind. So we're never having an intention at that level. We don't need an intention because the wisdom of the body will reveal what it is we're going to explore moment to moment. So again, you can relax that left leg out. And this time we'll go to the other side for the half crescent shape. So we'll just walk the heels over to the right. And once the lower body is grounded, we'll shift the upper body over, trying not to let the left shoulder roll. And then you can take the left hand, put it up over the head to complete the shape. And if you would like, this is just a nice option for the psoas. You could put that left ankle on top of the right ankle and just relax. And if that left buttock has rolled up a little bit too much, this is going to compensate for the tight psoas. Better to press that left buttock down a bit, and then if you need to unhook the ankles, fine, or maybe make a modification, bend that left knee a little bit. But the flatter the body can be here, the better. And it just also helps to appreciate this lateral flexion of the spine if we keep the hips and the shoulders down. And what's very interesting about this this discernment that I was talking about earlier, between the content of your experiences, which are changing moment by moment by moment, always they are changing the content of your experiences. The discernment between that content and the actual nature of experiencing is that then it's not simply the body that we can apply this to, but it's something like boredom. Yeah. So we can look at boredom as an energy. We can look at boredom as a form of tension. We can look at boredom as just being unsatisfied with what's happening in the present moment and needing to reach out of the present moment to make it more interesting somehow. So we can deal with boredom at that level, and then we go back and forth, and we need to stay busy, and we need to distract, and we can lead us into states of confusion, or we can relax, see that boredom is just another tension, it's just energy, and explore the nature of it. without having to follow its dictates. So this discernment is very, very powerful because we can apply it to our experience all across the board. Good. So if you would, if you have your ankles crossed, you can uncross your ankles, relax the arm that's up over the head, walk the heels back to straight, shift the upper body back to a straight spine. And then once you're there, if you could bend your knees and put your feet on the floor and just elevate your hips a few times, just sort of a little gentle undulation here of the lower spine. And then when you feel safe, you could reach under and pull these blankets out, or you can just roll off of them. So we'll remove all the bolstering from the pelvis. And I'd just like you to lie flat, open your legs a little past hip width. If you'd like to bring the arms up over the head, spread eagle style, and just feel any tingling, any internal movement, call it energy, just to feel your body at this more visceral level, especially anything that's vibrating, coming out or reverberating in and out of this pelvic area. I was speaking of the pelvis. I don't know what the context of the conversation was, but I was telling Rose the other day how much I love my pelvis, because at some point in this endeavor of this slow fascial restricted based yoga, I started really putting emphasis on releasing and opening and becoming conscious of the tension being held in my pelvic ligamentation. And it, it's made incredible difference in just the flexibility up my spine, the release of tension in my lumbar muscles, my hips. So this area of the body in terms of how it compresses and the massive amount of ligamentation, especially in the female pelvis, much more than the male pelvis. So to really explore it deeply, to get to know it, to see what's hidden deep within its fabric is a really wonderful endeavor. And so this first thing that we did is certainly, a good start. I mean, if I had to choose between a good hair day and my pelvis feeling open and relaxed, I'll go with the pelvis every day because I can always wear a hat, right? Okay, so let's come on up, please, and maybe get yourself a big bolster or a couple of pillows or just something for some support. And what I would like to do, I'm just thinking how we can show this. I'll just sit to the side here. Is let's extend the right leg out. So just the right leg forward. I'm just going on an angle because I want to kind of show you this. So yeah, the right leg extended out. And let's take the left leg and just bring it up and over. And then we're going to take that left foot and just gently bring it towards that right hip. Yeah, so it's kind of bringing the knees a little bit in alignment, but don't force it. So we're just bringing it back a bit towards the hip. Yeah. And then what I would like you to do before we go forward is to take the right hand and put it behind you at the base of your spine. And I think it's better to go up on the fingertips than flat on the palm, so we're not leaning into this right shoulder and elbow. If the fingertips are not working for you so well, you can maybe put a little height back there if you want to lean on the palm. So I want to elongate the spine here and relax it. Yeah. So either fingertips or something you can bring your shoulder up. And then what I would like to do is just twist to the right a bit, just like you would be doing just a traditional sitting twist, but bring the chin, the bottom of the chin parallel to the floor, bring the chin towards that right shoulder. So we're elongating the spine, relaxing the shoulders, and then really exaggerating it up into the upper spine by bringing the chin towards that right shoulder and really press into it a little bit. That's why we have this right hand stabilizing in the back here to give us some muscular effort to twist towards it. Yep, and just lean into it, press into it, and then release it. Keep the hand where it is, but just release it and bring that chin towards the left shoulder. So just now press into the other side. Yep, and then come back, chin towards the right shoulder and press into it a little bit. And we're just going to do this a couple of times. If you'd like to move off onto your own rhythm, feel free to do that. So I'm pressing, I'm twisting, I'm bringing my chin towards my right shoulder, and then I release and bring the chin towards the left shoulder. And you can press in here a little bit too. Take your time. Yeah. And then let's go back. Right. I was going to say the right chin, but just bring your whole chin over to the right shoulder. Yeah. Just feel it. Feel it. And then again, release and bring the chin towards the left shoulder. So nice. Come back towards the right again. Twist it just a bit. And then let's come right to the right. So we're twisting over to the right here. Yeah. The reason I invited you to bring a bolster or a pillow is you may want to put a pillow on this right side so you can relax the arms. So as the upper body's coming forward now and a little bit twisted to the right, see if you can really relax the lower back and drop the head down. So as always with our yin forward bends, we're not extending or attempting to lengthen the spine in any way. We're trying to soften it and relax it. So just really relax into the lower back here. Use as much bolstering on the right side as you need, and we'll just stay here for a bit. And if the head wants to, have a little bit of sway here, just to continue the energy we were twisting into the neck, feel free to do that. And then when you're ready and you're finished with that, you can just settle into a nice, still, relaxed position. And so then the posture itself becomes the environment to explore. And so you may go through a list of all the things you're experiencing, wherever you're experiencing, with whatever intensity. And then when you're done with your list, you can put it aside back into a sense of contemplative presence and see if you can discern what the nature of the experiencing is. So we're no longer interested in the content. We went through the content, lovely. Now we go back into the nature of the texture, the structure of experiencing. Not to say we can't go back and forth, but we want to start that discernment somewhere. This is very powerful.
Good. So if you're off to the right, come on back to a straighter spine. And then just roll up nice and slowly. And let's extend that left leg out. So the leg that you had on top there, up and over, extend it out. And then keep the right leg out and bring that left leg back in. So we'll put the sole of that left foot somewhere along the inside of the right leg. And again, letting this left leg just fall freely to the side. Put something under the thigh or the knee if you prefer. It's up to you. It's really up to the hip and the knee. And then come back into the forward bend. And so then you, again, may want something forward to lean on. It doesn't need to be straight spine here. The weight of your upper body will kind of guide you to where the density is most pronounced. And not to even say that's where you need to be, but give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you don't really know where it is that this tension is deeply rooted. Very, very rarely is the symptom anywhere near the deepest, misalignment or inflammation. So where you explore is really very intuitive. The posture is this wide open, generalized, suggestive, geometric shape. And then when you start to enter into the layers of sensation, just be intuitive of where you place the body. This is why not only do we move very slowly, but we spend a luxurious amount of time in each pose, so we can surrender our intellectual intention and let the somatic intention really express itself. Good. So let's arise from here. And just gently roll up the spine. And just let that left leg straighten out. And just take a few moments here to have any movement that you need to shake it out. Because I'd like to go directly into the other side. So the same thing. So obviously on this side, we will keep the left leg out. And again, I'm just turning a bit just to angle for you. So the left leg's extended out. We'll bring the right leg up and over. And again, just a gentle tug towards that, that left hip. Yeah. And then what we want to do again is we want to bring the left hand in back and either up onto your fingertips. And again, I'm just using this to sort of alleviate the spine compressing into the sacrum and the hips. So I can just kind of elongate and relax the spine a bit. So if this doesn't work, you can put a yoga block or some blankets back there if it's not so good on your fingers. Yeah. And then what we want to do here is we want to then bring with the bottom of the chin staying parallel to the floor. And again, letting that upper spine feel nice and elongated and relaxed. Just begin to twist to the left. So the chin is coming over the left shoulder this time. And then again, just feel this, I just count the rhythm in general, but if you feel called to a different rhythm, what we're really just doing is we're pressing in using muscular energy. This would be borderline yang yoga because of the muscle that we're using, the tension that we're intentionally applying. And then just release that energy, the tension, and bring the chin over to the right. And now we're just kind of feeling into that neck stuff, you might call it. Right chin towards right shoulder, and then come back. So we're just coming back here to a static twist, and then we go to the other side just to, explore range of motion and all of those, all of the resistance that tends to spiral up the spine into the neck and the shoulders. So left chin towards left shoulder, a little bit of muscular energy, twisting and pressing a bit, and then release, and we'll let that chin go over the right shoulder. Good, and again, we'll bring chin toward left shoulder, press a bit, press a bit. Good, so we can relax the arm, but we'll keep the twist a bit to the left and just relax down over this leg, this time on the left side. So again, relaxing the head, softening the lower back, using any bolstering that you might need. The bolster works fine. That's what they're for, but pillows and blankets work just as well. So just supporting your, that all of that weight, that's what's really applying the compression into these areas. And we're not struggling here to maintain the twist. So wherever you unwind to, let the spine unwind. It's just a very vague sort of general movement over and down to the left here. And then just kind of soften into it. And what I was saying about boredom, the same thing. If the mind is very chatty and a lot of noise, it's mostly noise because it's so anxious to be away from the present moment. So if you're finding that the mind is, a bit noisy, you can certainly listen to the noise. You can listen to the content for a moment or two, and then relax back from the noise, and again, explore what is the nature of the experience of the noisy mind. What is the nature of experiencing a thought? The content of the thought is at some point irrelevant. It's only relevant if you're focusing that thought to accomplish a task. But if there's no task, and the mind, the thoughts are still noisy, examine what that is. Examine the energy of the noise, the energy of the ever changing, whims of these thoughts. Good. So if you're off to the left, once again, best to come up with a straight spine. So straighten out the spine if it's not already there. And then we'll roll up here, roll up, emerge, and same transition. We're just going to simply take that right foot and put it somewhere on the inside of this left leg. If the knee needs to, breathe a bit, straighten it out and wiggle or wobble, and then place it where is good for you and come forward. Right to that very first layer of, of sensory expression. Where is that tugging? Where is that resistance? Where is that density? And this is your body's way of saying, okay, let's start here. And then we'll see what happens. This is your body's way of saying, I want you to pay attention to this. Relax. Just simply notice how your breath is responding. No need to concentrate, no need to focus. The opening of the receptivity, the opening of the qualities of yin is to simply feel and let that felt sense guide you. And sometimes, certainly, this may lead to a type of focus or to a type of concentration, but that's not where we start. So we want to start with the felt sense and let it draw us in, let it, soften layer by layer. And then sometimes we continue to open that space of layering, and sometimes we come into something that's rather interesting. Good. So let's come on up from here, please. And let's straighten out both legs and let's lie down and take a rest. And of course, this discernment between the content of your experiences and the wide open spaciousness of the energy of experiencing itself, from a yogic perspective, this is really just kind of setting the setting the stage for us to then relax even deeper into our presence and explore, who is it that is actually experiencing. So this is one of the values of being able to release oneself from the content of the thinking, the content of the thought, the content of the physical experience, to see that there's an experiencing, an energy that's not contingent upon the experience itself. So as we continue that relaxation in and back and into open presence, the contemplation of the yoga is then, who is it that is experiencing? And then we begin to rest in that. Okay, so this next thing, I'm going to ask you to fold up a blanket and make a nice pad. I just want to get into the mid-spine. So how much you fold it is really up to you. It can also be done with the large bolster, but I'm going to go with the blanket. So when you see what we do, if you want to use the bolster, you can do it, but fold the blanket so it comes into sort of a nice block shape. Yeah, about the approximate height. If you do have a big bolster, it's about the height of the bolster, but it's a nice block. It just kind of opens a little bit more than what we do with the bolster. So I'm going to suggest this this folded, padded up block shape of a blanket. And then simply, very simply, you may want a little something for your head, maybe. So you have something where you're going to put your head. We're just going to sit in front of this block, and then keep your feet on the floor as you're entering, and come down to your forearms and start to work on the placement of this, which will be somewhere at the shoulder blade line or a little below, but not too much lower, because it'll start to get into that upper lumbar area. So first, with my feet on my floor and my hands nice and stabilizing each side of my body, I kind of approximate where this is going to go. Then, still with the feet on the floor, I bring my head back, and then I determine, do I want some support for my neck? So you can just let the neck dangle, but that's a little, make sure the neck is open and feels safe, or you may want to put a little support there. Yeah. And then let the legs relax out. So that's the last thing, because that'll then settle that weight. And now I'm just going to shift it up a little bit. So now the very tips of those shoulder blades, my scapula, are touching the roll of the blanket, and that's perfect. So I've got this mid-spine compression. Open the legs wherever you'd like to open them to, so the hips can relax. For now, let's just keep the arms at the sides. And then you can play with this. Often what I'll do is, if initially I feel I need to support my head, I can then remove that and see if the neck wants to dangle, and just really open up the clavicles and all of that shoulder girdle stuff. Yeah. And just relax, and make sure you're at a position here where the body's receptive to this pressure. You can relax and be here for a while, and just enjoy it. And one of the reasons that that the thoughts coming and going and coming and going in the mind do start to appear as noise is that because words are just really dancing on the surface, that language itself cannot convey experience because the experience is always changing. So whether it's language that's coming from me or someone else externally, or it's your own internal narrative, this layer, if you will, of our experience of words, of language, is just along the surface, but it cannot convey the profound depth of your experience. So we want to take a rest from this level of experience, whether it's thoughts coming and going, whether it's sensations in the body shifting and intensifying and opening, whether it's the emotional level of the heart that one moment feels elated and joyous and the next minute feels contracted and fearful. So all of this experiencing is always shifting, it's always changing. And at some level, this creates a noise, a hum of anxiety in the nervous system, a background of noise and chatter in the mind. So the rest comes from simply sinking below all of that and seeing that the objects of experience are not the important thing. The fact that you are experiencing all of these shifts, all of these changes, all of this noise allows you to just relax, just sink down. As I was saying in class on Friday about the depth, that the tranquility at the depth of the ocean is irrespective of the storms raging at the surface. Or something like that. So I'd like you to consider a creative visualization with your breathing in this position. And I'll just say a few things about it, and then you can alter it to your own needs. You can just explore it a bit or not. So the breath on the inhale, what I would like you to imagine is that you're inhaling way, way down into your lower belly and the pelvic bowl. So another word for this pelvic area is the pelvic bowl, but I would like you to imagine it as a bowl. So a bowl that's tightly woven. Yes, a bowl made of fabric, but a tightly woven fabric. So when you inhale whatever it is that you may be dealing with or is present for you, and let it just fill up this bowl, whether it's vague anxiety, whether it's a specific concern, whether it's something going on with your body, a reoccurring thought. It can be anything. So on the inhalation, you fill up this bowl that's tightly woven. And on the exhalation, allow the fabric of the bowl to open so it's almost like a net, almost like a sieve, almost like just a wide open space that all of that can just dissipate through. And it can just dissipate out of this bowl and down into the earth itself. So the inhale, we're gathering, it's concentrated, there's density, there's solidity. And on the exhalation, just this open matrix of space, and this bowl just relaxes and opens, and all of that solidity and density just dissipates and dissolves and melts out of you. So do this gently, do this, like I said, as a creative visualization. Inhale, fill it up, feel it, exhale, let it go, and feel it. And also, it doesn't necessarily need to be filled with objects, objective experience. Very often in this part of the body, there's a very vague, mysterious tension that's woven into the tissues of your body. So you can inhale and let this bowl fill with this vague lower chakra, digestive area tension. And on the exhalation, let the bowl soften and open and let all of that tension just drift away. Main thing is to just do it in a sensitive way, in a gentle way, and let really the creative visualization lead you. You don't have to guide it yourself. You can just set this rhythm going and just feel how it guides you. And then whether you're continuing this breathing visualization or not, if you could now just bring your arms up over your head, just any way that feels good to you. You can let the arms separate, you can interlock the fingers, bend the elbows slightly or straighten the elbows. Another great benefit from getting some distance from the content of your experience, from the noisiness of your experience, is that when things do start to quiet down, you can go into very, very subtle areas. So we're not interested in thinking our way anywhere. We're not even interested in these thoughts, however interesting or entertaining. We're interested in how refined and subtle our experience can penetrate. And this is beyond the language. Like I said, the language is just dancing on the surface, but the awareness interwoven with our capacity for nuance, this is what we're really exploring, and this is really how we're exploring. Awareness interwoven with nuance. Good. So you can relax your arms, and let's just take a few more breaths into this bowl of the lower belly and pelvis, and then however you want to visualize. So just inhale and just really let this belly area, low belly, pelvic, sacral area, reproductive organs, just let it fill. Let's let it fill. And on the exhalation, nice, long, gentle, subtle exhale as long as you can, and just let it empty. Let it fill, feel it, let it empty, let it release, let energetically let it flow. And then let us put feet on the floor. And I think a little sway back and forth is always good. So just, let the muscles have a moment here. So just put the feet on the floor and just kind of roll back and forth, side to side a little bit, just releasing all of that muscular tension. Ah, yes. And then when you're ready, you can roll off of this padding and put yourself in a comfortable position, whether that's, on your side, curled up, flat on your back, child's pose, whatever feels best. Yes, and then let's take a little rest here. So make yourself comfortable. Let's take a rest from this, especially this area. Yes, let's rest. So our first two yamas in the Ashtanga limbs of yoga are harmlessness. So we endeavor in our practice, in our life, certainly not to harm others, but not to harm ourselves in any way. So to be able to take the self-judgment, the self-criticism, any attachment to an aesthetic, the ego out of our yoga. And that's the first yama. The second yama is truthfulness. And this is a particularly deep study because we can, be on some path of yoga thinking that it's important to, understand the scriptures and all of the mysticism that it allegedly points to, this sort of fabled state of enlightenment, and think that yoga is this understanding, this place we arrive at when we complete the postures and we cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves. But the truthfulness of it is that yoga is meeting oneself where one is at truthfully. So we simply use a pose and we use the gentleness of the quiet time to be honest with that level of assessment. Where am I at? Where am I meeting myself physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and to be profoundly honest. And that's the yoga. So when we're meeting ourselves where we're at, that's our yoga. And the beautiful thing about it is it's not simply a yoga posture giving us feedback, but it's all 7 billion people on the planet giving us feedback, life itself giving us feedback, the weather giving us feedback. So it's how we meet that. It's how we react or respond, how we breathe, how we hold ourselves, how we move towards our ambition, how we balance that with rest. And the more honest we can be with that, how we meet ourselves, that's our yoga. Okay, so let's continue with this yoga, the yamas and the niyamas and the asanas. So if you have a big bolster, I would prefer using the big bolster for this. If you don't have a big bolster, I'm going to suggest you just use a couple of pillows or pillows and blanket. Yeah. So the uncertain part with the pillows is it just doesn't have the firmness often. So I would even maybe use 2 pillows and a blanket for this to sort of replicate what we're doing. Yeah. So basically we're going to bring the whole back line over this, work into the ribs first. So that's my suggestion with blankets and pillows. If you have the big bolster, take that out, and then something for your head at the head, and maybe something to place your hips on. If the bolster or your blankets are a little too much, we can make some adjustments there. So what I would like to do is I would like to sit in front of this bolster or your pillows. And if you have the big bolster, it's going to go horizontally side to side. The way I would like to start, however, especially after that last thoracic opening that we did, I'd like you to come over to the left side and place your ribs. Yep. So not the armpit and not the waist, but the ribs on the bolster. Yeah. The legs can be bent like mine are. The head, it's nice if you can let the head dangle down and not have to put the pillow under it. But I can understand if the neck is really holding or tight, maybe put something under it like this. But what we're doing here is this lateral flexion. And so the upper spine can follow that. It would be lovely. So ribs over the bolster. The left arm can just relax out, but we're going to take the right arm and bring it right up over the head. Yeah, so my bicep muscle is coming towards my ear, and then my hand is extending over my head. So try not to let the arm drop back, but especially try not to let it drop forward. So we want to keep the length of the spine fairly even over this lateral flexion. And then you'll feel the weight of the arm as you stretch out. If you're able to, and you can get your fingertips to the floor, you can kind of walk your fingertips out a little bit and really stretch here. So just kind of feel this. This is lovely. Once those intercostal muscles between the ribs start to dehydrate and tighten and stiffen, it affects your breathing in profound ways. So not only this for the spine, but you can sort of feel between the ribs opening a bit. This is very good to do. And again, if you can dangle the head down, even let it touch the floor, lovely. If you need something over it. And just kind of feel this. If it gets too intense, you can relax that right arm back in and then bring it back out. Oh. And then play a little bit with your breathing here. So we're stretching the rib cage, stretching those intercostal muscles. So if you can take a little bit deeper breath, you'll see that breath, especially the inhale, weaving into that tightness between the ribs. This is very good. Good. So you can relax that right arm now and very carefully just roll over to the other side. So you may need to make some adjustments so you don't roll off the bolster. Yeah, so I would roll off the bolster if I kept going here. So make those adjustments and then we'll roll over to the right rib cage. Yeah, so right on the rib cage is best. Yeah, so I'm pretty much right on my side here. And then I like to bend my legs so they create like a very stable base. The left arm just the right arm just relaxes wherever it will. Check in if you're going to let the head dangle to stretch into that left side of the neck, or if not, you can bring a little pillow there. And then the left arm up and over. So you're just really extending that opening. And then if you can if the fingers do touch, you can walk them out a little bit. If not, just the weight of the arm is plenty here. And again, a little bit deeper inhalation just to feel the way that the breath really kind of ribbons in and permeates and is, certainly part of all this micro movement of the breathing apparatus. How could it be not? It's all just one mechanism, right? Good. So let's relax that left arm. And now what I would like to do is have you roll onto your back and try to keep this bolstering, or if you have your pillows, as low down as possible. So this is why I suggested something for the head now, particularly. So we're going to let the head relax back. The bolster is still horizontal, close down to the low back. And then if this feels unsafe or way too much pressure, simply put your feet on the floor, bring your hips up, and sit on a blanket. So this alleviates quite a bit, and you can manage this yourself. And then the arms will relax out to the side. The legs can then relax out and open a bit. And please, make any adjustments you need here. So if I shift my body up, I go way, way into the lower back, very deep here, intense, dense, tugging, discomfort, or I can shift my body down a bit and come more up into the shoulders a bit. So have that leeway, even though it's big, the pillows, the bolster, just the slightest movement up or down is going to evoke different sensations. So just honor the way that your body is holding tension, your skeleton, your limitations, your edge, and find a place that you can relax, and we'll be here for a bit. Noticing if the breath is responding or giving you feedback to anything you may be experiencing. And no need to control the breath. No need to try to make it slow down or become calm, but just let everything relax. So we're relaxing the mind, we're relaxing the body, we're relaxing the heart, but we're also exploring relaxation at our essence, relaxation where we truly experience that we are this open, spacious presence. So if there's a contraction at that level, just let that relax. So this deep relaxation at the essence of our being, what does this even mean? This is where we, really come to this precipice where, the words are just reverberating into, very vague imagery. I think another way to explore this is uh, through feeling a sense of, genuine um, self-love, but certainly not at an emotional, uh, traditional idea of love, but beginning to understand that another word for love really is trust. A trust that life itself takes care of itself, and that you are life, and you are love. How could you not be? You know, we spend so much time and effort, education, creating this separate identity, this separate ego, this separation, layers and layers of separation, when essentially we are this life. We are this love. So at this level, it's a profound trust. It's just a trust that we are life, and life itself is our teacher. Life itself, it takes care of everything. It's almost that it's life loving itself, but just the way it is, that we don't have to go to thought to make any alterations, any changes, no improvement, nothing to move towards, nothing to move away from, but just this, you know, deep, profound trust and connection that we are life. We're not moving towards it, we're not cultivating it, we're not trying to improve it, but we are that. So we are this love. So the self-love comes from this profound trust in life itself, and this acknowledgement that we are the fabric of life, no different than the, you know, the moon, the stars, the sun, the spiders, the kitties, the earth, the water. And from this place of trust and this place of love, this is where we rest. Resting at the level of your essence. So if you would like, uh, this seemed to work well for me. This is kind of what I was drawn to. You can put your feet on the floor and go back to that rib to rib, side to side. You may just do it a little quicker here just to remove the muscular buildup. So that's an option. You may want to just do that. You may also want to push the body back, just shift back until your pillows or your bolster get onto the pelvis, and just feel that sort of whoosh of release out of the lumbar or wherever you felt it in the back line. And then let the knees go back and forth. This is a nice place to roll off of it. I prefer rolling off from the pelvis than staying in the lower back. But if you're feeling like you just want to go uh, directly out, then you can just safely keep the feet on the floor, really feel stable, get on the arm that you're rolling towards, and maybe ooh and ah a bit, and come just roll off of it. So any of those choices, and then let's come into a position where you can rest. and this, trusting of life that I was just talking about, it's also, occurring to me, if we, go to this basic foundational concept of yoga that simply means no separation, not two, then we get to look out. We have this amazing array of senses that lets us just look out in this visionary way at life. And if we look very closely and we slow down enough, we cannot find separation in life. We cannot find a separation between anything. The web, the continuum is a whole. And intuitively, we know that. So what we've had to do, since childhood, to individuate and to educate and to find our way, is we've had to work very hard to create separation between ourself and other, between ourself and nature. So the yoga is just a relaxation into a recognition. There's nothing we need to figure out. It's already there. It's a softening inwardly. It's a quieting down. It's a recognition that at my essence, at my beingness, how could I be separate from something that there is no separation? So it's very, very beautiful that way in its simplicity and in its ordinariness. And then we get to, look at life itself. This is what I mean about trusting life. We get to look at life a little differently when we're a part of it than when we're outside trying to get into it. There's no getting into it because we're already part of it. We already are it. Yes. Okay, so let's come on up, please. Come on up and let's just sit. I'm going to just come into a square pose. So let's bring the right leg in. And for this, I would just like to give you all of the options. So you can, I'll just go through them. You can sit with your left leg in towards you, bring the left foot up onto the right calf, square. You could release that left foot forward onto a blanket, open square, lovely. You can bring any manner of height under this left leg, the height of the small bolster or a couple of blankets, the height of the large bolster or a couple of blankets and pillows. So any square that feels appropriate for right now, go ahead and choose that one. I'll just do this square that's bringing the left foot on top of the right calf. And then I would just like you to sit comfortably before we go forward. And if you're going to use some support coming forward, maybe have that ready. So let's just sit quietly. Allow your shoulders to be over your hips so you're not leaning forward. Allow the weight of your torso to settle comfortably into your hips and your pelvis. Allow your spine to elongate a bit. Relax your shoulders. And just let a sense of inner silence become pervasive. And let's just visit one of our simplest and most beautiful metaphors for a few moments before we allow ourselves to relax into the posture. Imagining that you are the sky. So this is who you are. You are pure consciousness. You are the sky. You are infinite awareness. You are the sky. And being the sky, we have no concern what appears in the sky. Rainbows can appear. Big, white, friendly, fluffy clouds can appear. Lightning and thunder can appear. Whatever appears in the sky ultimately changes and disappears. But you are the sky. You are pure consciousness. Within this consciousness, concerns can appear, fear of death can appear, happiness can appear, safety can appear, tension can appear, dreams can appear. But you are consciousness, you are the sky. Ever so slowly let yourself come forward, feeling every sensitive, subtle strand and fiber, and relaxing into your body, coming into a position that feels safe, feels healthy. And so for the remainder of this pose, we will just be the sky. We will be a pure open field of awareness and allow anything that appears to appear, leave it alone. Don't get entangled with it, and then let it disappear. You are the sky. You are the sky. You are the upper atmosphere. You are the universe. You are the cosmos. No definition is necessary. no point of reference is necessary. Allowing and trusting yourself to be referenceless, and finding yourself in an ocean of space, letting any dualistic tensions just simply relax. And from this place of being a referenceless, of being the sky, of being pure consciousness, we can make the most beautiful discovery that being without reference is not death. Good. So let's emerge from here and just move very slowly. I would just like to switch legs, but very slowly, really trying to maintain this inner awareness of spaciousness. So you can just open the legs out and just feel the energy shift a bit. And then let's bring the left leg in. And again, whichever form of the square is most compatible, you don't have to replicate the side we just did. So if you want to change it up, that would be good. And then again, before we go down, let's just relax back into this spaciousness, this simple but powerful metaphor of being the sky that holds the clouds, the sky that holds the planets and the sun and the stars. The sky that holds all of our concerns, all of our energies of separation. We allow them to appear, we allow them to disappear, and we simply remain this open, this spacious, conscious, intelligent sky. And let's relax back into the forward bend. And simply releasing yourself from the trap of the mind and coming home to the true nature of your beingness, your presence, your divinity. This is meditation. The sky itself does not change, nor is it concerned with the comings and goings that appear and fade. Settle in, continue to draw yourself inward, and simply recognize yourself as that which does not change. So let's come on up nice and slowly. Just let the spine unfold very gently. And what I'm going to suggest here is I just like to really come full circle from here. If you would like to go back to that padding for the pelvis with the 1 or the 2 blankets, so you have a very soft cradle. So very little compression, almost no compression, to just get the support and the softness there. Maybe just a little compression, but just to bring this all the way back around to where we began and just to check in here. So we want to let the legs relax out. You could even put the legs up if you wanted to on some pillow or bolstering. You could put a little something under your neck. Just make your body comfortable, but have this be the center of awareness, right where we started from. So you just kind of feel this pelvic bowl. So whatever it is, just feel into it. What I was saying earlier about trusting life, part of how we really on an ongoing basis can cultivate this is by slowing down. And I don't mean by slowing down the rate of your activity. So whatever pace you think is most efficient and you enjoy moving at, be as busy as you would like. Move, be active, cultivate, appreciate that yang energy, that energy of doing. But internally, slow down. So when life presents to you, you are not so quick to react. You're not so quick to think that you know what the lesson is. So the quality of slowing down is not just in a quiet practice where we take a time out to slow down. The power, the healing of slowing down is that we get to create space between what life is presenting and how we intelligently respond, and begin to trust. The layer of trust I'm talking about is to see with 100% certainty that whatever life is presenting is a lesson, that the teacher is life itself. But if we're reacting in the moment, thinking we know what's happening, we miss the lesson. So what life then does is it brings the lesson in another form. It intensifies the lesson. It turns up the heat a bit. So our willingness, our capacity, and we all have a great capacity to slow down, allows us then to breathe with life, to allow our innate intelligence, the intelligence that is in our cells, to merge with the intelligence of life. And to be able to trust life at this level, that it is presenting us with exactly the lesson we need all the time. And how do we integrate that lesson? How do we listen to that lesson? How do we trust that lesson? This is the awakening. It's not complicated. The belief that it is complicated is just another distraction. It's another way that the mind takes us out of the moment, takes us away from the lessons and the intelligence of life. So this is the yoga. The yoga is to relax into oneself, to slow down, to love oneself at this level of trusting life and seeing that you are love itself. You are life itself. Namaste.